What is good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode brought to you by the League FFB. Hopefully everybody's chilling tonight. I see we got Jake in the chat early. Says, what's up, Andrew? When can we get you out for a Panthers game this season? I'd love to get out to a Panthers game, Jake. If you got the tickets, I'm there. We'll see what we could do to make that happen, because I'd love to come out and see a game. Not sure what the Panthers schedule's looking like this year, but it would be cool to get there and see something in person. But look, man, tonight we're here for our underdog draft stream of the week. It is our best ball summer series that we've been doing for the last couple of weeks here on the channel. So not the last couple of weeks, it's been the last couple of months at this point. I think we're now 9 weeks straight of doing this. So that's what we're going to be doing here tonight. As always, folks, if you want to get in a draft with me, now is the time to do it. I'm going to share my screen. What we're going to be drafting here tonight is the Puppy 2 over here on Underdog. We're going to be doing the 20-second per pick lobby. Obviously, it's $5 entry. Now, I will say, if you sign up over on Underdog, you want to play on Underdog, if you sign up using code LEAGUEFFB, they will give you up to $1,000 in bonus cash, and you will get a free mystery pick'em that you can play with. But that's how you're going to do it tonight. Now, I'm going to be joining this lobby here, but there is about a 20-second delay on the stream. So make sure, if you have it out, you go join that right now, because in about 20 seconds here, I'm going to be clicking to join this lobby. So you got about 20 seconds here to get into the lobby before I click it. Jake says, we don't play your Vikings, but got some good matchups. I know we don't play you guys. I think you guys played Green Bay this year, but I can't really remember some of the other matchups. But yeah, I mean, if we got the Vikings in there, that would have been perfect, Jake, because I am dying to go see JJ McCarthy. But I've kind of given you guys about 20 seconds there. I'm going to enter this lobby so we can play this draft here, do this Puppy 2 draft. Right now, we're still waiting on about 3 people. So if you've been a little bit late, you can still get in there. But while we're waiting for this to fill, do me a favor and go support us over on Underdog, and I'll show you how you can do that right here. Playing drafts or sweating pick'ems, there's no off season on Underdog, which means there's still plenty of ways to cash in big this summer. No matter the sport you're watching, Underdog has you covered, and all you have to do is pick higher or lower on your favorite athletes from whatever sport, put them into a pick'em entry, watch the winning multiplier increase, click play, and win real cash. So what are you waiting for? Download Underdog and start playing today. Plus, when you use promo code LEAGUEFFB, Underdog will give you a new customer special, which is a free square for your first pick'em entry, and they will give you up to $1,000 in bonus cash, giving you the perfect head start to winning big on Underdog. So if you want to support our show and get in on some daily fantasy sports action, click the link in our description to sign up for Underdog using code LEAGUEFFB. So thank you to our sponsors over at Underdog, and with that out of the way, let's get back into the action. All right, so I got this pulled up. We are in the draft, just so you guys don't know, because I saw Jake there. We're picking from the 12 spot, but he said, can I get a realistic prediction for the Panthers? I am going to do this for you real quick, Jake. When I'm looking at your guys' schedule, I'm just going to be brutally honest here with you, Jake. You know it. Panthers probably don't win this one. Cardinals, I'm taking the Cardinals. Falcons, I'm taking the Falcons. Patriots, I think it's a toss-up. I'll give you guys this game. Dolphins, I'm taking Dolphins. Cowboys, Jets, I'll give you guys that game. Saints, I'll give you that game. 4 or 5 wins, Jake, I think is realistically what we can be looking at. And I know that's probably not what you want to hear, but that's what I'm going to give you here for your realistic win total. Is probably about 4 or 5 this year. But we are going to be going through over the next couple of weeks here. Over on Let's Talk Dynasty, we're going to be going through each of the divisions and giving our predictions on win totals, players that I think are going to be undervalued from each team, players that can break out, how their values are going to improve for Dynasty or decrease for Dynasty fantasy purposes. So there's lots of stuff that's going to be being talked about over the next couple of weeks on the channel. But look, like I said, we're picking from the 12 spot. The 12 spot would be an interesting one here. I think you get a lot of options. You can get a couple different combinations. Jake says, if NFL employees could bet, I would take your money, brother. Well, I'd be happy to draft against you. But look, being at this 12 spot, I've been taking a lot of Amon-Ra St. Brown as of recent as well. I just feel like he's a player that while his value is still a little bit lower, I just want to keep adding him to my teams, because I do think he should go right after Lamb, maybe after Gibbs, but I would be taking him about the 107. I think that's about the spot where Amon-Ra should be going for these drafts personally. So he's a player that I've been looking at. Neighbors, Collins, BTJ, you can get cool combinations with these, even if you want to reach down and get HN, who I'm a little bit high on right now. You can get a bunch of different combinations. Now, what are we going to get? I'm not too sure, but we'll see what we can put together here. I do like targeting Amon-Ra too, just because I think you get some cool combinations here with Rams players and Vikings players. So I am going to go this one. I'm just going to go double wide receiver. I'm going to go Nico and Amon-Ra St. Brown here and make that our first targets. And this puts us in contention for some Arizona play in the second round. If we do see a guy like Trey McBride fall, he's been falling as of lately in draft ADP, so that's puts us in play there. You could get some McConkey, not McConkey, I guess, because we just picked at the turn. But there's other options here with Hampton and Herbert. You also have the JJ McCarthy and Vikings stuff here. There's just lots of interesting options we can put together with this grouping of guys. So we'll see what we can put together here. But the thing about it is now we have a long turn to wait. So I guess what I'll do in the meantime is pull up the board. I absolutely hate Underdog's new UI for the draft board. I think it looks fine for the other stuff, but the draft board, they've made them so small and they're just ugly. It doesn't fit the same way that it used to. It's not great, but at least you can follow along here. It doesn't look like we're going to get the tight end falls in this one, at least as of right now. Bauer's still going at that ADP. We did have BTJ go a little bit later than he normally does at 16. But everything else seems pretty normal up to this point. Nothing feels super unique. Henry being pulled in the first round, but at that turn, it's not really super unique. You have him in HN. It'll be interesting, man. We got NFL training camp coming up here in a couple days. I'm dropping a video on the channel on Wednesday that's going to be all about storylines and things and players to watch at NFL training camp for your fantasy football teams. So that's going to be a fun one to do. As we get into that, obviously that's when like the major news stuff for the season really starts to ramp up and pick up as we get into week 1 of the NFL season. A lot of things is going to change between now and then. But I think really we've had a slow-ish week, couple of weeks with news, but we did get the 2 running back pieces of news here this week. So on the 5th of July or 6th of July, I can't really remember. It feels like time's kind of been moving quickly, but we had the Najee Harris news where Najee had a firework injury, and it seems like that was something that, you know, was pretty popular as a talking point for a lot of people. I don't think it's going to really affect the outcome of what was already going to happen with Hampton and Najee. If anything, maybe Najee has a tiny bit less potential to take a lot of early season carries. But I think people really already expected Najee to kind of get some of that at the early part of the season, maybe be phased out as the year went on. So I saw a lot of people getting really excited for Hampton. I don't know if it's really going to matter in the long run. I still think that Najee's going to be suited up week 1 and still probably get a decent amount of the workload if, you know, that is he shows up to training camp and gets a decent amount of training camp in. As far as the other running back news, that was the Quinshon Judkins stuff. We got some more information about that today. I think, you know, 2 nights ago, if you would have asked me my thoughts on the Judkins thing, or even earlier today before we got a lot of the reports that came out, I would say that I was a little bit less worried about Judkins. Now I've increased my worry for Judkins just a tiny bit more. But again, that's still probably a case-by-case scenario where we kind of got to wait and see. Here with this selection, because we are going to be up on the clock here, I would have went Garrett Wilson, try to get a little bit more of him there. But I think I'm going to go double right here with Kyren Williams, and then I'm also going to grab George Kittle and have the start of this team be Kyren, Nico, Amon-Ra, and George Kittle. And that gives us lots of opportunities to kind of build this roster. I'm going to put Stroud in my watch list just so we can have him here. I'm also going to put Goff in my watch list, and I'm going to have Purdy in my watch list. I want to have Purdy on this team to the best of our ability. I want to try and see if we can get him, because I think that Kittle Purdy stack is pretty interesting, and I don't have as many of the Purdy Kittle stacks as I probably want at this point in time. I mean, just looking at the combination tool here, when you have Kittle on your teams, how many of these do I have? Purdy, 66%. It's not a lot, but probably could be a little bit more. I'm in so many slow drafts right now where we could probably see that number come up. Probably like 40 something slow drafts that I'm currently in at the moment. Nico, we need to get more Stroud. We need to lock a little bit more Stroud down with Nico. And Amon-Ra, where are we at with Goff? 33%. Yeah, we got to do a little bit of a better job getting that too. So all of these options, I think we really need to try and grab as many of them as possible. They're spread out decently enough in ADP where it's going to be possible. I just want to look at how this is going to play out. Being where we're at, we're going to have to reach, no doubt. But 103, how early do you want to pull the trigger? The earliest one I think was Purdy, which would be at 85. I think we kind of got to wait on Purdy to 108. Not willing to use that 85 pick on him. Probably go Purdy here and Goff here at this back-to-back. And that will be fine. We just got to hope that Purdy falls. If he doesn't, I guess we can lean back into the CJ Stroud a little bit later. But that's kind of how we're going to have to build this sucker from the beginning. At least trying to chase some of those stacks. Some other correlation we can keep in mind is that Atlanta game. Obviously, we can keep in mind Detroit, but we already have that kind of already lining up. Chicago is another team that we can kind of look at for some correlation as well. So there's definitely plenty of opportunities here to just keep correlating this roster and trying to get the best one we can possibly have. Let's see where we're at. 5-4 right now. I was going to go to the big board just so you could see that ticking across the screen, but we're close enough already that I think I'm good to sit here. Getting some value on JMO, it doesn't matter. I was going to say we could grab some JMO and go double Detroit and then really target Goff, but we won't do that one. Definitely all of these options are interesting. I also think grabbing our other running back would be interesting as well. Rome, if you want to, get in this Chicago game here, that could put Caleb on the radar as well. Kamara, that's an interesting add, and James Conner as well. I think these are kind of the options that I'm looking at. Hopefully we can get Conner. Jennings off the board. I guess that's another piece of news that came out too about him requesting a trade and wanting more money. I just don't think that's the best move for him, but hey, is what it is. I'm going to take Zay here, and I'm going to go James Conner. That's going to give us a start here of Kyren Williams, James Conner, Nico, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Zay Flowers, and George Kittle. I'm feeling pretty good about this right now. It does feel pretty balanced across the board. We'll start trying to sprinkle some more, maybe some more high upside swings that have a little bit more risk, because I feel like for so far we've been getting some fairly safe production, but I would like to try and sprinkle in a little bit more upside, even though I do think guys like Nico Collins and Kyren and Amon-Ra have upside. Obviously Kittle has upside, obviously, but just try and get a little bit more there. Nahal says rank KW3 Chuba, Kamara, Hampton. Is this for a redraft or a dynasty, Nahal? Because I think I would rank, I know I would rank them very differently depending on those formats. Redraft. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I mean, the way that I would be ranking these guys right now in my rankings, the way that I have it is, not sure if you got a chance to see those either in Hall. I just dropped a lot of my redraft running back and wide receiver rankings on the channel. But if you're looking at my rankings right now, I have, let's see, it's Kamara is my running back 15. Kenneth Walker is my running back 16. Chuba 17. And then I have Hampton at 21 right now. I think Hampton, he's a player that's probably going to be moving up since I made that video already because we had the Najee news. But even then, I think that's still kind of the way that I would rank those guys for now. So I would go Kamara, KW3, Chuba, and Hampton in that order. But it depends on your roster. If you have, you know, some solid production and Hampton fits your build a little bit better, he's definitely a guy that can be like a second half league winner for you. I just think it might be a little bit of a slower start for him. All right, Pacheco off the board there. We did have that big running back run right after we took James Conner. So you had Monty, Travion, RJ, DeAndre Swift, Caleb Johnson, all of these guys come off the board, which is interesting. I mean, it makes sense in that tier. Does look like the T. Higgins and the Jamar Chase owner didn't get Burrow, which is just funny because I feel like that's been like the talking point all offseason is like pushing Burrow, seeing if you can get him later. It didn't work for either of those guys. But we are going to be up for our pick here in a second. 84, 85. These are going to be the last two before we can put our quarterback room together, or start trying to put our quarterback room together. So let's see what we can do. I don't think I'm going to be selecting Judkins at this point in time. There's a little bit of a dip here, but this isn't too crazy of a dip where I'm comfortable taking that risk at this moment. So I think I'm going to try and grab another running back, probably another wide receiver as well, and just keep building this around. I would have loved to get Mooney on this roster. I think he's interesting. Aaron Jones comes off the board, which is fine because I'll go Shakir and probably B-Rob. Let's put Shakir at the top. It's between him and Pollard. Do we have any correlation? We don't. I think I'll probably go. I guess we got Pollard correlation there. I think B-Rob is the better player, so I'm just going to go B-Rob here, put him on the team. Now we have that team of Kyron Williams, James Conner, Brian Robinson Jr., Nico, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Zay Flowers, Khalil Shakir, and George Kittle. For those next two picks, that is where I'm going to be looking at grabbing those QB stacks. Probably the Purdy one would be the first one that we're going to be trying to target. He is going to have to fall a tiny bit for us to get that. I don't know, if we have a guy that's going to be trying to chase a stack around there. I think the Juwan Jennings owner was before our pick there at the turn. So maybe he's trying to chase that, but maybe he doesn't want to chase that stack now that Jennings is requesting a trade. But then Goff should be there as well, so we should get the Amon-Ra stack. And I don't mind making this a 3 QB build with Stroud still, trying to get all of those put together because we are only going to be taking one more tight end on this roster, trying to only make it a 2 tight end build for this one. So I don't mind this being a 3 QB team at all. And actually the data, that we've been getting a lot this offseason has proven that 3 QB builds have just performed a little bit better. I'll go back to that draft board. Yeah, when you're looking at this Jennings owner, he might be the guy that maybe ends up taking the Purdy for us if he's even falling around that way. I'm trying to look anywhere else. Does the CMC owner possibly want to do it too? They could. 7. They just took Mahomes, though. Do they want to double up with Purdy here? I guess CMC and Jennings, those would be the 2 owners that we have to look out for here. Didn't even matter. Purdy goes at the turn, so we don't get the Kittle stack. But hey, what can you do about it? Not much. So that being said, I'm probably going to go Goff, and then I guess we'll look and see what other QBs are there for a 3 QB build. I guess let's start checking it out. Bo Nix falls. I don't mind taking a cheap, I guess it would be naked. There wouldn't be a stack there. Bo Nix pick. I wouldn't even be opposed to taking a Justin Fields. You could also go Caleb Williams, who has that back stack type of game correlation there in week 17. May as well. There's lots of options. Our next one after that will be what, 132 for Stroud here. We're going to keep playing the game of just like pushing it down a little bit. I will take Goff this time around. And if Nix is there, I'll probably consider it. If not, I don't mind scooping our second tight end right here. Kelsey was somebody that I was looking at. That would have been interesting. People are super high right now on Pearsall, it seems. Yeah, I mean, Pearsall was a player that I really liked as a prospect. And then you get, Ayuk recovering from the injury, Jennings wanting a trade out or a new contract. There's definitely a pathway here where Pearsall can be leaned on early on, and he had a really decent end of the season last year for the Niners. So I think it's not without good reason. I do think people should be high on Pearsall, but maybe not crazy high. I just, there's a lot pointing to why people should be high though. We got sniped on Knicks. That kind of sucks. That would have been a good little piece to add there. I'm gonna go because it would have been really cool to go Knicks. Oh my gosh. We were going to go Goff anyways right here, so I'll let that go. And then I'm also going to go Evan Ingram there with this pick. That gives us our 2 tight ends. I don't want to add another one after that. I think we're good here. We're also hoping with this next pick, we do get a Nico Collins Stroud stack to fall into our laps a little bit. We're going to be playing with fire because our next pick is 133. The ADP is 133. It's going to be a interesting little game there. Lots of running back value on the board still. I think there's decent players that we can keep plugging into lineups, but this group of 3 guys should give us some pretty solid production. Maybe just need to find a little bit of upside to put on the roster. And we might be able to do that with, like, I don't know, you sprinkle in like Jaden Blue maybe. Like Jaden Blue could have some upside in this offense. Charbonnet, but he's not going to make it back to us. I don't mind going 2 QBs with the next one too, if a Dak or a McCarthy or even a Jordan Love falls. Stroud will be there. As long as it's not week 8, that's all that matters to me. I guess even a week 6, I'd prefer not to grab 2 of them. So maybe McCarthy not a player to grab. You could just tack a 3rd guy on later, like Stafford, maybe. Cam Ward if you want to shoot some upside, or maybe if it's just Goff and Stroud, maybe that's just what it is. I don't want to force a 3rd QB in just to force it. This would probably be the ideal situation. Goff, Love, Stroud. That would probably be the most ideal situation. But maybe the move was to not grab Ingram with that pick, and maybe it should have been to grab like I don't know who's went since then. You could have grabbed Herbert or May. Maybe that was the move, but I think I got caught off guard there with that auto pick being. It was a good thing that we had our queue set up, but that auto pick being Jared Goff. There goes Love. This is a good dip on Najee. I don't mind it. Also wouldn't mind potentially taking Hollywood Brown potentially as a little bit of a bigger play guy. There goes Najee. As long as we don't get sniped on Stroud there. I want Hollywood, though. Okay, so we're going to go Stroud. And then how about with this next one, we go... I think I'll go Tajay Spears, just in case there's a Pollard injury. We also have this correlation here for Indy. I mean, not Indy, Tennessee right here. So let's go Stroud. And then we'll go Tajay Spears. We're getting a little bit away from the wide receiver position, which I don't love. We'll probably go back to it here. Maybe a double pick at the wide receiver position, depending on where, you know, what values are on the board. But we probably need to grab a couple more here. I guess, is there any other ways we can try and sneak some correlation for a quarterback stack? We could go a Bryce Young a little bit later, week 14. Tack this on with like Leggett, and or I guess we don't want to add a third tight end to this build, but like this would be an interesting stack for the next one if we could maybe make that happen, just to add some correlation there. If not, we could go like we could throw Tua in there, or we could also go Cam Ward. I guess I don't want to keep adding the tight end. I was going to go Chigakonkwo. Yeah, I don't want to force it, man. I think we're okay. Guess just keep trusting the process, seeing what we can put together. Still got to get around that turn anyways. I feel like that would have been maybe a decent... I think what if I could go back and redo this, it's not a big deal, but I probably go Jordan Love here. Obviously, hindsight is always 20/20, right? But you go Jordan Love here, and then you go Tucker Kraft here because he came back on this turn. So if you could have went Love and Kraft instead of Ingram and Spears, feels a little bit more correlated, and then we would be done at the tight end spot and at the QB spot, and could just go with the wide receivers and running backs the rest of the way. But it's not a huge deal. I don't think it's a major issue for the team. The bulk of the team is correlated here with Goff, Stroud, and those guys. Now, I don't know why we're not seeing this highlight. That should be highlighting, so hold on. There we go. I just noticed that. That is the perks, folks, of Best Ball Overlay. So you guys see what, where I'm seeing these championship weeks, the portfolio data, some of the stuff that's here, the highlights. That is all from Best Ball Overlay. So if you go to bestballoverlay.com and use code LeagueFFB when you sign up, they'll give you 25% off to try out their tool there. So if you guys are interested in it, you play a lot of best ball, strongly suggest doing it. It's the best way to level up your portfolio and really take your best ball game to the next level. Started doing it this year. Really a big fan of it. Honestly, it's making those quick, we have 20 seconds now for this clock. They got rid of the 30 seconds clock. You got a 20-second clock. You need to have that data to make good decisions quickly. It's going to be the name of the game. It's going to make or break some of these teams. So I think that's a huge edge, to get over Best Ball Overlay. And like I said, use code LeagueFFB and they'll get you, some extra 25% off there to save you some money. All right, let's go this next pick. I don't mind tacking on a Romeo Dobbs. Also don't mind an Algier or a Jaden Blue as well. Penix is interesting. Tua is interesting. Bryce Young is interesting. He's not stacked anymore. So I probably am not chasing that. I do have Spears. Any correlation is better than no correlation, so I guess I'm not opposed here. Unless you really have stronger conviction about Tua. Which I don't know if I do. I think we're going to get left in the cold if we don't, but I'm willing to play the game, so I'm going to go. I think this is going to be a dangerous gamble, but I'm doing it anyways. I'm going with Jaden Blue here, and then I'm going to take Romeo Dobbs, and we're going to push the QB one more round. Worst case scenario, there's Bryce, Stafford, and Rodgers. And if not, I'm okay calling it quits at 2. I really am. I mean, ideally, you're not. Just because I don't think either of these guys have rushing upside, which I'd like to have a little bit of rushing upside on the team, but it is what it is. Let's see if there's any other players around that 180, 181 mark where we could be looking at. Jalen Wright's interesting as like the final running back. I only think we need one more on this team, and then I'm done at that position. If he falls, interesting. If not, Sampson is obviously very interesting with the circumstances right now with Judkins. I'd already been drafting a good amount of Sampson, but while the ADP is still down here in these like 15th, 16th rounds, I'm still going to scoop up as much of it as I can. We are getting that little bit of a quarterback run here. Team's definitely very correlated here, which you expect from Sam Olsen. I don't know if it's just Rodgers, I think I'm out at that point. Yeah, and then I'm good. I'm good. Could go the Daniel Jones gamble, the game, or dart if you want to. These are like later picks. 200s. I mean, you make them with the last 2 picks. So I'll keep them marked there just in case. Maybe we can line up like a Alec Pierce, maybe, or even an Adonai. Dart, you line up a Wandell. I don't know if Slayton's still on the board. Should be. Yep. Can line those up. Not great stacks, but still correlated. Haven't had Sampson come off the board yet either. Dami's interesting. on the board. I'm going to go Wandell. And I'm going to go Samson. I'm going to pull him up. We're done here. So I guess with our last two, it's either 2 wide receivers or one of those QBs. And we did take Wandell. So I would probably just prefer it to be Jackson Dart. Unless we get the Daniel Jones Adonai there at that turn 2, which I'm not opposed to. But also, it's not like a crazy stack, so I'm not like chasing that. This team may just be better off throwing the 2 wide receivers anyways. I think I'm making that executive decision right now. Just chase 2 wide receivers. It's 2 tight ends and 2 quarterbacks, which is always a little bit risky because if you have an injury to one of those guys, you know, you only have one shot every week. Whatever they score, that healthy tight end scores or that healthy quarterback scores, that's what you get in the lineup. Which the luxury of the best ball is obviously the fact that you can have multiple guys play and you get to put the best one in your lineup. So if it's just one guy left, it's a little bit tougher, but we'll rock with it. We'll see what we can make happen. I mean, we're only looking at wide receiver, right? Unless there's a crazy value. But even then, like, I can't imagine we go anywhere else. I'm going to stay here. Probably pull Yoshavash down there if I can, just because T, you know, he had a healthier year last year, but hasn't necessarily been a guy that's been super healthy throughout the majority of his career. So, you know, if he misses time, Yoshavash being with Burrow there, who's going to throw the ball 1,000 times and has a very poor defense there, like, I'm definitely willing to take that shot. I think Coker's interesting. Hopkins is interesting. And then from there, it's, you know, it's anything. I think these are my top 2. Maybe Adonai. D-Rob, maybe, with the news of maybe a potential trade for Juwan Jennings. Maybe D-Rob gets a little bit more involved. Maybe they do trade him. I don't think it's going to matter. Hopkins is the best value on the board. I don't want to say the name too loud because then he's going to get sniped. Maybe just auto-picked right here as best ADP on the board. No. There you go. Sanders. We do have Zay, so I guess I would stay away from Hopkins. Just remembered that we had Zay, and it doesn't matter. They made the decision for us. So let's go Yoshavash here. And we thought about going Bryce Young. I played the game. I guess we could have done it with Coker, but that'll be that. And that'll be the last pick for us. So this one, you know, we thought maybe we were going to go with a 3 quarterback build. This one ends up being a 2-6-8-2. A little bit riskier having both of these positions at 2s. Both of these QBs not really having some rushing upside. So that does, you know, maybe lower your ceiling overall with this team. But you get Kyron Williams, James Conner, Brian Robinson Jr., Tajay Spears, Jaden Blue, Dylan Sampson, Nico Collins, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Zay Flowers, Khalil Shakir, Rome Romeo Dobbs, Wandale Robinson, Andre Yoshavash, and Jalen Coker. Then you get Kittle and Engram here as well. So not my favorite of teams that we've ever drafted. Not the worst team either. I think it's still a very solid team. I think maybe, I don't know. I don't know where we really went wrong. I guess we can look back at this board. I think maybe it was just the Engram one where, you know, we got at this turn, didn't realize we were on the clock, and maybe that's just what happened. So maybe here's where it got a little bit off track, but it's not too bad. Like I said, not a bad team still either. Still a decent team, but we're going to keep ripping these. Right now I am in probably 39, 40 different slow drafts right now, trying to bang out a bunch of these little Dalmatians. Right now at this point in time, we're at 75 completed, probably going to be about 125 by the time that all of these slows are said and done. Still got a lot of work to do between now and week 1 of the NFL season, ripping all of these drafts, trying to get to 200. The goal for me this year was 200. We may have to enter a bunch of these slow drafts here just to get to that goal, but slowly pushing away. Appreciate everybody who's been in here tonight helping us draft this team, talking in the chat. Jake, Nahal, Quincy, all of you guys that have been in here, appreciate you. And nothing else for you guys today. We will see you again tomorrow, going through updating these redraft rankings. So those will hit the quarterback position will hit the channel tomorrow, and then lots more content for the rest of the week. So make sure you guys are tapped in. But nothing else for you guys today. Like, subscribe, comment, do all that good stuff. We'll see you on the next one. Till then, peace out.